Hi, and welcome to part 1 of How to Run Judges Table. Now, if you are lucky enough to be chosen to run Judges Table, know that you are going to be running the most stressful job at the Seaman High School Forensics Tournament. Also know that if Ralph chose you for this, he probably saw something in you that he doesn't see in anyone else. That, or he wants to torture you. We're not entirely sure. Either way, the judges' table is the most important job at the tournament. This is because without judges, we can't have a tournament. So, here are some helpful tips and tricks and what you should be doing to get ready for this. Alright, so first off, get as many judges as you can. So, try to contact all of your family, see if they can do it. I would contact any friends that have graduated high school. Just kind of check it out, see if anyone can do it. And then make sure all of your classmates are also getting as many judges as they can. This will make your life so much easier once you start assigning judges. Now, about a week or so before the tournament, Mr. Ralph will email you a Google Doc of the judges who have signed up and what they have signed up for, their email address, their phone number, and even some special preferences that they may have. And this will be when you start contacting your judges for confirmation. There should be 4 of you between ballot check-in and judges table, and what you'll want to do then is split the list up into 4 separate equal parts, and then you'll each be responsible for contacting your 4th of the judges. What you'll do is you'll either text them or email them depending on what their preference is, and Mr. Ralph will give you a template for that. So, and they tend to differ a little bit. So, the judge that you contact will either confirm the times that they're supposed to be judging, or they will tell you that they aren't in fact available to judge those times. If they do tell you that they aren't available to judge those times, you'll want to make note of that and definitely tell Mr. Ralph and probably the person who they signed up for. Also, make sure ballot check-in people and even your partner knows that too. Now it's time to start assigning judges. Ralph will also send you a Google Doc that has school codes and what events the codes will be in, what rooms and everything. This will become really helpful later. Once you have been emailed the Google Doc of the judges who've signed up, you're going to want to make a separate Excel spreadsheet or even a Google Doc spreadsheet. And what you'll want to do is you'll have rounds 1, 2, 3, and finals up in the top row, and then in the columns underneath you'll put the judge's name, first initial, last name, and their preferences in each round that they're available to judge. This helps you in assigning people because you know what the judge's preferences are and what rounds exactly that they are in. So then, alright, next you'll work with your partner to assign judges. One person should have a computer set up with that Excel spreadsheet that I just explained, and another person will want to make a separate Google spreadsheet that looks a little bit like this, maybe not exactly, but something along these lines. It has the event right over here, and it's split up by about a line, and it has each room that the event is in, and then it has round 1, 2, 3, and finals here, and that's where you'll put the judges, obviously, and then it has a side over here for standby judges. You'll want to both look at this, have someone else proofread it, because if you have a judge double booked somewhere or anything like that, then things can become pretty hectic. Now, something to keep in mind would be to schedule like your limited prep speaking events first, or debate events if you're doing a Friday stuff, because those there aren't many people that want to judge those things, and when you do get them, you definitely want to use them in those events. All right, so while you're assigning judges, you'll also want to be checking their special accommodations. This is because some judges have graduated a different high school and they can't judge that high school while they're there, or other various reasons. So that would create bias. And you'll want to make sure that you don't schedule them with their high school or whatever their accommodation might be. This is where the Google Doc of the school codes and where they'll be is going to be really helpful. That way you can kind of double check that that school's not in any of those rooms, and you can put one of those judges in there. Now some rules to keep in mind while assigning judges. First of all, a judge that is there for 2 or less rounds cannot be put on standby. This becomes kind of upsetting for the judges because they feel like they've wasted their time coming there. And you want to make sure that you make the judges feel like their time is very important, because it is. Also, any judges that are judging 3 or 4 rounds, you'll want to only put them on standby once, if at all. Again, this can become very upsetting if they spend 2 rounds in standby. They don't feel like they're actually doing anything, and they feel like their time is not very important to you. When you do put people on standby, in our experience, we like to put former students on standby, people that kind of understand forensics a little bit more, because sometimes if a judge doesn't really understand forensics, they get really upset that you put them on standby, because they don't understand that maybe they're not needed, and they don't understand that being on standby is really important too, just in case a judge doesn't show up. Okay, so so you can't have a judge an event more than once. So if I judged poetry first round, you can't put me in a poetry round any other time. This kind of prevents judges from seeing a poetry piece or any other piece more than once, and it kind of takes away a little bit of the bias. And you'll want to try to put judges where their preferences are. Sometimes I know this isn't possible, and hopefully your judge is understanding of that, but you're going to want to do your best to do that. Finally, you will want to make sure that all final rounds are in closed classrooms. This is because it kind of gets a little weird when it's in open classrooms, especially since we have a lot of closed classrooms, more than we need for finals round. And so you'll want to make use of those. So make sure you communicate that. If you have to move any of the finals rounds, make sure you communicate that with Mr. Ralph and all the other people running the tournament. That way there's no confusion later on just so that there's no confusion later on. So, I think that's it for part 1. You'll want to head over to Andrew's video and see what to do once the tournament has started. Remember, and he'll say this in his video, but remember to stay calm. Even when you're planning this, it seems like a lot of work, and it is. But trust me, you can do it.